Good morning and welcome to JoyNews, your election headquarters in association with Petrosol. Clean fuel in full quantity is always a delightful experience. Cowbell Coffee, taste it, love it. McDan Shipping and Logistics Limited, your total logistics partner. Pat Eva Limited, your home of modern furniture. Coa FS, the immune booster for your general well-being. I am Bernice Abubedulam. So thank you so much for staying here on your election headquarters. And we've been doing this since last night, bringing you all the details, touching base with our correspondents who are dotted across the country. And I am in our studios at JoyNews. We have a team in Studio 997 in Kokomlemle, and we'll be bringing you all that you need to know. It's our continuing coverage of the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections. As you may already know, there are 275 parliamentary seats up for grabs, and 12 candidates are locking horns in a contest to be president of Ghana for the next 4 years. And we've got Nana Akufo-Addo of the NPP, John Mahama of the NDC, Christian Kwabena Andrews of the Ghana Union Movement, Ivor Kobna Green Street CPP, Ekiadonko, the Ghana Freedom Party, Henry Herbert Latte GCPP, Hassan Ayariga of the APC, Percival Kofi Akpalu of the Liberal Party of Ghana, and David Akpasera of the PNC. We've also got Bridget Jogmanuku of the PPP, Nana Konedu Ajiman Rawlings of the NDP, and the only independent candidate, Alfred Kwame Esiedu Walker. It's been over 2 hours of voting so far, and we've brought you reactions across the country. It's been generally peaceful, and we have reporters spread across the entire country. And apart from the incident we reported from Ododo, where there was a bit of chaos with voters, their concerns over the setting up of polling stations, we've had a generally peaceful conduct of polls. Let me take you now to Kojo Yansin, who's standing by in Studio 997. Hello, Kojo.
Wonderful to be doing this with you once again, right? Casting our mind back 4 years. It's great to be part of this history-making moment. And my guests in Studio 997 today are Kofi Bentil and Clara Berry Kasati. We've been having the most engaging analysis of what is to come today. But I'll tell you what I think we ought to do while we have the time. Let's very quickly have a look at what the rest of the world is saying about today's election. Okay, so here on our screen, we can have a look at the big headlines. DW, our partners, are saying in an opinion piece, which I think you should read on their website, Ghana's election between a crocodile and an alligator. Couldn't have put it better myself. And of course, if we go across to our very own website, myjoyonline.com, you'll see that we're talking about everything, including live updates as Ghanaians go to the polls today. The BBC is talking about 6 things you should know about Ghana's election today. And that's written by Favor Nunu, who reports for BBC Pidgin. We can take you across to the BBC Global website, where again, they're talking about our election. Ghana elects president in vote fielding 2 long-time rivals. That's the truth. They are coming together for the second time. The third time, actually. Let's see how it all unfolds for them. All right. So this is what the world is saying about us today. And of course, we're going to continue to bring you all the headlines from around the world. It has been, as Bernice said, pretty peaceful so far. And we expect it to continue in this vein all day long until polls close at 5 p.m. But we've been talking about all the different permutations and all the different angles and all the different possibilities with our 2 analysts this morning, Clara Berry Kasati and Kofi Bentil, both of them lawyers. Of course, Kofi Bentil, the senior vice president of Imani Africa, and Clara Berry Kasati, a law lecturer and a private legal practitioner. Kofi, I would love to come back to you because there were so many things we were discussing before we had to take a break. One of them being Ayawaso West Wuogon. But that's not the only constituency where there are lots of eyes, lots of expectation. There are other areas of this country where it seems as if what happens there is going to be some sort of reflection of what happens on the bigger scale, especially constituencies in the new regions. How important is it going to be, this fact that we even have 6 new regions in this election?
The new regions will be an important factor, and those factors tend to work for the MPP. People kind of feel they have to reward them for creating the new regions. There's a debate around whether that means anything at all or not, but that's a political fact. So depending on how that goes, we'll see. But I think that essentially the coastal areas still hold sway. So who wins Accra, who wins the central region, will be a very important indicator of how this whole thing is going to go down. So I agree that the new regions are important, and they will have some sort of positive effect for the ruling government. But I think ultimately, I don't think they will be the ones that turn things around. I was going to make a point on the international press's view. So if you look at what BBC is saying, so is it long-term or long-time rivals? I really think it's important to put this in context. When you see this in the context of Africa, it could mean all kinds of negative things. And I think we should emphasize that these people have gone against each other for 3 different elections. And for whatever it's worth, each one has won one. So it's 1-1. And whoever wins this one will have the edge over the other one. But in a departure from the normal Africa story, 3 times they have fought an election. Just a week ago, these 2 people sat down to sign a document and urge everybody to go through this process in peace. They have been exemplary in their conduct. President Akufo-Addo, being the incumbent, having the power of the state, has been extremely respectful and restrained, has respected COVID, has run this country even-handedly, even through this period. President Mahama, having come back again after what he lost in the last time, has conducted himself as a proper gentleman. They have kept this nation at heart. They have urged their supporters and the nation at heart, at large, to be, to go through this thing properly. I think we should not take it for granted. In Africa, when you see people going for 3 rounds of anything, especially at this high level, you can expect everything. So there's a lot to be proud of, and I wish they would state that this is a departure from what they tend to report about Africa.
Yes, point well made. An important one as well. It's a pity we even have to make it.
Oh, yeah, it's a pity.
We don't, we
and
know
again, sorry to be going on, but
be.
in the case of Ghana, this is not unusual.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to say in this. We are happy that this is happening, but we didn't expect anything else.
This is the norm.
So this is the norm with us, and I hope the international press picks this up.
Indeed. Clara, let's open this up. It's been 4 years of NPP administration under Akufo-Addo. Now, as people go into the ballot box, just as they did in 2016, they're asking themselves which vote will make the best impact on their lives. So many of the big events that have occurred over the past 4 years are playing in the minds of voters today. I wonder which ones you think are going to be most prominent. I mean, we can go all the way back to the very beginning, from the inauguration, where we heard about plagiarism, to free SHS, being one of the biggest feats any administration has, pulled off and continues to pull off, to things like even COVID-19, which is the big event of 2020. To all the things in between, whether it's issues of governance, the establishment of an office of the special prosecutor, to his resignation recently. I mean, what are the things that you reckon, the big signpost events across the past 4 years that Ghanaians undoubtedly will be thinking of as they cast their ballot this morning?
When it comes to that, I think Ghanaians, different people will be looking to different things. The society is hugely diverse, so different things will matter to different people. I'm sure that there are some who will just look at their economic circumstances. somehow I expect everybody or every voter to be able to relate some of the issues to themselves. So some will look at their personal circumstances and decide which way they think they will vote to at least affect their personal circumstances. There are some who will also look at values. So they would look at the values at play and decide which values are more important to them and which ones that they want to follow. I have always believed that one of the values that holds sway for the Ghanaian people, including even it being expressed in our constitution, is the value that, yes, we want an atmosphere where we want equal opportunity to pursue our own prosperity. And I've always believed that if you look at even the way of life of the Ghanaian people, you can see that as much. They wake up early in the morning. When I was leaving early, I saw people on the streets already getting ready for their day and all of. You see a hardworking people. You see a people who have always had an interest in the affairs of their country throughout across the various facets, including even football. So you see a very involved people in several aspects of our national life. So I don't expect that there is one particular thing that would drive across. I expect that there would be different things for different people. People will consider a lot of different things, but invariably I expect that they would link it to themselves and then decide which ones they think are most important for them and then vote in that direction. Of course, we always have the people who have a base. Every political party all over the world, across the world, always has a base that sticks with the parties through thick and thin. It's normal. It happens in every society. So yes, we are going to have that kind of voter as well as a lot of, even though we usually like to pretend that everybody in Ghana belongs to a particular party, I think inwardly we know that is not true. And we know that is not true because we know that, I mean, since 92 we've changed governments. So we know we do have certain Ghanaians who are not necessarily tied to any particular party, but at each electoral cycle, they would look at the circumstances they think work for them and decide which way to vote. They vote all right, but they are not tied to any particular side, and then they would decide. So you have that category who would also look at different things across the spectrum and decide what works for them.
Right.
Basically.
Kofi, I want to come to you, but I'm going to focus it a bit more if you don't mind. And at this point, let's see if we can start getting our hands a bit dirty, all right, with our analysis. Because we have something in our hands that we can assess. We have a record we can evaluate. So let's evaluate the record of this government over the past 4 years to see if they've done enough to earn themselves another 4. And I want us to take the very broad but easily quantifiable area of resources. So this government has had more resources than any government in history of Ghana, but it has also had more men and women to do the work with. 123 ministers. If you were to take these two facts and apply it to the output, would you say that this government has done enough to win?
As an analyst, it's difficult for me to pass a blanket verdict on this without going through the analysis and looking at it. So we should take it in that sense. Generally speaking, this government hasn't done badly. I mean, honestly, with everything put together, said and done, it's a pass mark. The problem is that this government set for itself very high expectations. So to that extent, people rate them against that expectation. And if you look at inflation today, okay, look at the number that inflation represents today, given everything that has gone on. You will see there's been some very competent management of the economy. But there's so many things that can be said, about all kinds of things, the economic, social, and everything. But let's boil it down to this. What are the things on people's minds going into this election? And let me compare that to maybe 4 years ago. 4 years ago, clearly Doomsor was on your mind. Clearly corruption was on your mind. And something more important, and let me explain this. There are things that offend people, things that when you hear about, you see going on, it annoys you, it offends you. and then there are things that affect people.
Kofi, I hate cutting in like this, but this is election day. It's going to happen a few times.
Right.
We're hearing that once again we have some incident in Ododo-Diodio. Bernice, are you able to connect us to the constituency for the latest?
Definitely, Kojo. Ernest Kojo Menu is a man there, and he's joining us with details on what's happening at Ododo-Diodio. Hello, Ernest. What's the situation in Ododo-Diodio now? Hello, Ernest, if you can hear me. Ernest is a man in Ododo-Diodio constituency. Earlier we heard there was a bit of a situation there regarding polling stations and voters having concerns about that. We understand that led to a bit of some pushing and shoving here and there. But Ernest, what's the situation there now?
Yeah, so Bernice essentially was about the queue management. And the voters here were agitating. They were not really excited with how the Electoral Commission officials had managed the situation. It got a bit chaotic. The police had to come in. There was reinforcement. And then there was order now, because a lot of them who had forced themselves into the compound of the city engineers were moved outside, and they were asked to form long queues again. And so right now it is peaceful. The measure that had been introduced, because they all rushed in, they sort of crowded the entire voting area, and so the secrecy of the ballot was not guaranteed. Now what they have done is to introduce another barrier just before the where we have the Veronica bucket, where you start the hand washing, and go through the COVID protocols before you move to the verification table. So they've introduced one more barrier. We have these polling officials there directing them as to where exactly. So once you're admitted from the gate into the compound, you see any of these officers, they look at your code and direct you which booth or which table you should attend to or visit, so you can have your details verified. And then, of course, before then you go through the hand washing and all the COVID-19 protocols. So it is quite peaceful here. Earlier, we also spoke to the European Union, the observer mission. The chief observer was also here. He spoke to us. He spoke highly of Ghana and the processes so far. They have been here months before the election to monitor the process and engage various stakeholders, including civil society and some media organizations as well, on the processes leading to today. They're going to stay on a bit after the election. Of course, they would organize a news conference to tell us about their observation and make recommendations, as they've always done. So this is the latest from here, from the Ododo-Diodio constituency, Bernice.
Any of the parliamentary candidates cast their ballot?
Not yet. We understand that Ni Lante van der Poy will do that later in the dates. From here, we're heading to that polling station. And then we'll be tracking Ni Lante Bannerman as well. We've been told where he's voting, and so we're monitoring. We're in touch with their teams, and once we get the signal that they'll be voting, they'll be moving to the polling stations, we'll move there and bring you that live exercise and also interact with them after they have cast their ballots. The presidential candidate for the PPP, Bridget Odonuku, would also be voting in this constituency, we have been told. And so we are monitoring all of that for our viewers and listeners, and we'll bring them up to speed every minute of the way.
Thank you. Ernest Menu is a man in the Ododo-Diodio constituency. As you heard, calm has been restored and voting is going on smoothly, as we even observe for those of you watching on television. As he explained, the area has been sort of cordoned off to prevent people from massing up around the voting area. He mentioned that the issue of secrecy was a problem when the people just rushed into the premises. But let's go to Bono East now. Precious Semevo is a man there. Precious, it's been almost 3 hours now of voting. What can you report from Bono East? Bono, I beg your pardon. Precious is coming to us from Bono region. Hello, Precious. What can you report?
Yeah, Benny. So from the Bono region, Sunyani East to be precise, The election started as expected at 7. The process so far has been smooth. One thing that most of the voters have been talking about excitedly is that, unlike previous elections, this time around the process is so smooth because of the small number at every polling station. For instance, at Abisim RC primary, we have about 7 polling centers here. And what it means is that some of the polling centers officials are virtually sitting down doing nothing as at now. But before we even go more into that, I've been joined by Peter Ndombe. He is presiding officer at one of the polling centers here at Abisim. So, Peter, thanks for joining us on Joy News.
Thank you.
What has been the process so far, and what can you tell us?
Oh, so far the process has been moving very fast because of the arrangements EC did for us. The voters are voting smoothly, and they are very happy about the arrangements.
Any complaint so far? Anyone struggling to find his name in the register?
So far, there's no complaint. Each and every candidate, each voter name is on the register. They have all been verified through the DVD, and there's no complaint as of now.
What about the voters themselves submitting themselves to the protocols, the COVID-19 protocols?
The protocols are being observed as expected. They are coming with the nose masks, and we have the COVID ambassadors too, who will guide them through the process, take their temperature, they wash their hands, and then sanitize before they will vote. And then after voting too, we will sanitize them, then they leave.
At this center, what is the name of your center again?
My center is RC Premier 1.
And what is the total number of expected voters?
409.
And at the last count, how many people have voted as at 9:30?
At the last count, we have voted about 105 voters have voted.
All right. So, Bernice, the indication is clear. If you can see behind me, a lot of some few people, some few Ghanaians still in the queue, hoping to get their time to cast their votes. But it's been generally smooth, and everything is going on smoothly here in Sunyani. I can also tell you, I spoke to the constituency deputy youth organizer of the NDC, Vincent NPAJ, and he expressed the party's satisfaction as far as the exercise is concerned so far. He says that their agent has informed them that the EC officials are going and observing all the laid down rules, and that excites them, and they are hoping that it will continue till 5 p.m. And they're also hoping that those who are yet to step out of their various homes will come out and then cast their ballots, because there is no queue, the process is smooth, and you come here and not spend more than 10-15 minutes, and then you go back and do your daily activity. So, Benny from Sunyani East in the Bono region, it has been smooth.
From the Bono region, Sunyani East to be precise, I painted a picture of what's happening there. And if you've been following the election coverage and following the updates from the Electoral Commission, EC Chairperson Jane Mensah did say that the few numbers at polling stations is one of the reasons they expect to collate the results quicker than usual. So we'll be keeping our eyes on that particular one. But let's take you now to the Western region, specifically Kwesi-Mintim, where there are or were reports of roadblocks. Winifred Frederica Gbemoto is there for us. Winifred, what can you tell us about the reports of roadblocks in the Western region? Flames, I don't know what's being burned, but some roads in the Kwesi-Mintim district of the Western region were blocked. And Winifred Frederica Gbemoto is there for us. Hello, Winifred. Can you tell us exactly what's being burned on the road there?
All right, so here the disturbances began at 3 a.m. angry residents were out on the road and burned some tires here. They were complaining that the MP for this constituency has not done enough for them, especially with regards to their roads. And they were facing difficulties, especially with regards to transport, sending people to the hospitals and things in that regard. And that made them block the road and burn some tires. So as at 6 a.m. today, cars were not able to use this road. And if not for the intervention of the security agencies, the police, the fire service, and some soldiers who were present, the road would have still been blocked.
And Winifred, 6 a.m. was an hour before the election started. So what can you report about the elections proper? Is it going on smoothly there?
Yes, currently 3 of the polling stations at Rindo are functional, and we have over 600 people who are expected to be voting currently. Right now, we have the police present doing their work, ensuring that the place is safe for people to vote, and everything is moving smoothly.
All right. There have been concerns about the adherence to COVID-19 protocols at some polling stations. Are you observing the same where you are?
Yes, we are observing the COVID-19 protocols. Due to the disturbances, the security agencies are quite strict about them. So here, everybody at the polling stations are wearing their nose masks. We have water and sanitizers available as well, and people are observing the protocols.
All right, we'll leave it here for now. That's Winifred Frederica Gbemeto coming to us from the Western region, reporting earlier about the incident in Kwesimintim, where some residents blocked the roads, burning tires, all in protest of their bad roads, and they chose to do it on election day. We understand that the police and other security forces were able to bring the situation under control, and election voting has started there. Let's go to Ivy Setsaji, a woman in the Volta region. Hello, Ivy. Hello, Ivy. It's been almost 3 hours of voting, and we've heard reports of incidents here in Accra, but in Sunyani East and in Kwesimintim, apart from what happened earlier in the day. It's a smooth process. What can you tell us about what's happening in the Volta region?
Well, in the Volta region, it has been very, very smooth so far in the places I have visited so far. Started from Ho to Kesinov, where we're expecting the MP Aveji and then the Minister Jamashi to vote later in the day. There, the process was very smooth, but the turnout and most of the centers was low. And then currently, I just go to Northstone, where we had some rumor. We wanted to check ourselves that some group or want to cause some problem here. So we wanted to follow up. So I'm currently in Aveime. We want to follow up on that issue where the MP for the area, Samuel Blackwell Kujato, will be voting or casting his vote in about 30 minutes. So here, everything is smooth. People are in queue, but not long queue. Though, but the whole place, everywhere we've been to so far, is very calm.
Ivy, during the voter registration exercise, there were concerns about the presence of military persons in the Volta region and the possibility of that leading to voter suppression. Do you see the presence of the military as you crisscross polling centers, and have people been sharing similar concerns today?
Well, yes, we're on our way to Aveime. When we got to Sugahope, the barrier exit, we saw a group of military men sitting. Some were even enjoying coconuts or taking coconuts just by the road. Some were sitting just by the road, just looking at the cars passing. Apart from that, we are yet to see other military or any other military map. But we've not spotted any military personnel in any of the polling centers, yes, except police in every police center. So far, those are the people we saw drinking coconuts and just sitting by the roadside, relaxing. We actually don't know what they are doing there, but that was what we saw earlier.
All right, Ivy Setoji there coming to us from the Vault region and speaking about the situation there. Thank you, Ivy. We'll leave it here for now and allow you to visit other polling centers and report what's happening there. But let's take you back to the Nsawam prison where Seth Kwame Boateng is, and he's now in the female yard. Hello, Seth. It must be an exciting moment for inmates as they cast their votes today. Hello, Seth. Seth, kindly unmute your device. We can't hear you.
Because it's not one of those days that they would have to carry and go back to their cells, because today they have been given the opportunity to exercise their franchise. And here at the side, 46 inmates registered, and as I speak, I understand about 40 of them are available to vote. The last time I checked, about 29 inmates had voted here at the female side. The 46 who registered, 2 had gone home, but they are coming back to vote. And then from the male side, so I saw some inmates who have been discharged, went home and are back to vote. This means a lot to them. They have traveled away from their regions.
Hello, Seth. It's quite difficult hearing what you're saying. It's a bit windy where you are.
Not finished voting because imagine 46 people registered, and as we speak, almost 30 have voted. It means they have through the process. So that is the case here at the Nsawam medium security prison, the female side. But interestingly, as I said, some inmates who have been discharged are back to vote. It means a lot to them.
Have you been able to speak to any of them? If you have, what have they been telling you?
Especially at the male side, I saw some of them. My friends.
Too bad. We're
interacting with them for and then come out. I'll be on standby to get some of them to speak to. I have with me here the presiding officer, and welcome to JoyNews. What's your name? And so far, how far?
Oh, the process is very good. Things are moving on smoothly. There's no problem as at now. And as you rightly said earlier on, we are having a total number of people registered in 46. We have almost about 30 of them casted their vote. So the process is still moving on.
So let's say if by 11 all of them have voted, are you going to count or are you going to wait until 5?
The rule says that we are supposed to start counting at 5 p.m. So if even the time that is stipulated is even earlier than that, we would have to wait till 5 before we do the counting.
And how are you getting them to respect the protocols, the COVID protocols, and what measures have you put in place to ensure that they all comply?
In fact, the officers have really done a very good job. They are here with us and then they are helping us well. But with my team over here, in collaboration with the officers, things are very smooth over here.
Dennis, I've been saying this in the past, but here looks like a boarding house, you know, the well-regulated boarding houses, the well-kept boarding houses. That's how this prison is, the female side. When you enter here, if you've not been here before, you might wonder if this really a prison, because the congestion, as we see at the male side, is not the case here at the female side, Dennis.
That we'll leave it here for now. I'm sure that a particular polling center in the female yard of the Nsawam prison will be the first to finish its work with regards to registered persons voting. But we'll head now to Adanse Fomena in the Ashanti region. We understand there's been an arrest. Nanayao Jima has details of that. Nanayao, what happened there? Hello, Nanayao. Well, we appear to be having a challenge with Nanayao's line, but he'll be joining us shortly from Adanse Fomena in the Ashanti region. Nanayao, we understand there's been an arrest there. Give us details.
Right. So I saw 2 people being arrested by a police patrol team, and these people were suspected or allegedly to have assaulted an electorate after he cast his ballot. and then after he cast his ballot. And the electorate we are talking about is he is a staunch supporter and a campaign team member of the independent parliamentary candidate in this constituency, lawyer Andrew Esiama. And if we can give a brief history about the Fomna election today, one independent candidate, Andrew Esiama, is contesting NPP's Philip Ofori-Asante, and there is an NDC candidate in the election who happens to be Mrs. Barabu. What is happening now is that the NPP is divided into two among the incumbent member of parliament, who is now contesting as an independent candidate, and Philip Ofori-Asante, who is the NPP candidate in the constituency. And due to this, there's a lot of tension on the ground. The place have been declared as a flashpoint by the police. So this morning, what actually happened is that one man had cast his ballot and he had left the police station, but according to him, on his way he met some men, and these men were accusing him of taking a snapshot of his ballot. So he is here with me, and I would want to have a brief interview with him to update us or give us truly what happened and how it happened. About JoyNews. Pacho cheche mu game plan is reporting. Pacho anopedisi ane se mako the police center ekwa kotuma ne to abawa abuban sladi primary. Enti matuma ba wie ya neighbor. Ena wanga paloma. Say me de friends me de phone akọ arena ne mu akota. Am say me ni ko tuma me kotuma ba me phone ja otuo. Say wani me phone bitame. Eti me wie na mbeje ye. Dey phone am ko arena me ko twa phone ayi ballot na ayi den. Eti o men kan ye metu atena me ba. Ti me hu say presenti chamagosie de me chairman. Ade ne ka be si wo. Na guys bi matchofo bi fika ne mu asifom. Eti me ba no mudi me de me nim madua ma so say minti na oboba. Eti me duru me nua bi ba ni we fe na adusa. Me duru wa na be so me mu. Ba ko be so me spatade mu. No tete atare no kama ni oboma stro. Wo twa me godo ba ko so sekan e dam machi. Odi jam wachi say odi sekan na chi say no odi bomba chi. Yes the in chemu no sekan na chi no odi bomba chi. Ti matade a chame de jense ne we yi watete no. Sika me phone and me say moto mu na o mayi e de ko. Me nim wo mo. O sika say na wo fai. Scan dem fa say 580 cities. So, necessarily, I say snap equitable. Auntie, and then we are going to tell me so. My yes, I didn't. And you want me to fuck over me? Minimity pete me yes, I didn't. It me kuta me shila buni me kosia. Sa paloma no awodi ani musa me di say the phone acquire and wakuta akuta no. He is the person and you bring no papa because they kumi a ona me akumi. One minute time ani aponsa no. E di sama anya sa de na paloma de atum se babu kumi a. Nana no mini paloma ni. Sami ya sa de na nana no mini. So what he is telling me now is that after casting his ballot, these people met him on the way and accused him of taking a snapshot of his ballot, and due to that, two of these well-built men came out of the vehicle of the NPP constituency chairman Akwasienti, allegedly came from the vehicle of Chairman Akwasienti and pounced on him and beat him up. And according to him, all that he was wearing at that moment was torn into pieces. So when we got here, we met a police patrol team who had picked two of these men, and they've sent them away. These men had an accreditation which claim they are pulling agents hanging around their neck, and police didn't give us much information of what happened, but what we learned is that police have picked up these two men and also taken from them two machetes which they had in their vehicle. This has left the people here in the Fomena constituency very angry. Some are disturbed, and some are also, others are afraid of what is happening here. I would want to speak to a few of them and gauge the mood of them.
Yes, true. I'm about to go so obi betuma ka se o kwa o ya fa na o no ya na o chama fa anazi ama sade no ayetu aye wo ntemwa ama obi esuru me ba ko to ame mane nko kire se de e ko no misuru se obako me ba ne babo the way see and many Seminiano now bonus are there on the Panam Fawadi or near now components. Then you Kruma. The never be because saying a half but one, that's our minds will be on country for
Okay, so this is one of the residents here at Formula who is telling me that he is he's threatened by what just happened and he will not encourage his child or his kid if he has attained the age to go and vote, because there have been a number of incidents here and he feels the security of the election here in the Formula constituency is threatened. So this kind of sentiment span across the Formula constituency. Some of the people I've spoken with earlier are not happy and are afraid of what is happening.
All right, Nana Aljima, we'll leave you to get more details from the police and hopefully a response from those who have been accused.